Hey guys, welcome back to Top 1%. Today's video is a continuation of the previous video, which was do you have good genetics? In the first video I talked about the basics, so if you haven't seen that video, go watch that first, link in description. And in today's video we're gonna dive deep into the science. Some might call it nerdy, but this is gonna be packed with a lot of information. So stay tuned for this video, and before you start today's video, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. So let's get started. This will be fun.
I am in the top 1%.
We all know the importance of testosterone in our body. It is the hormone which helps you to build muscle and lose fat. Basically, it improves your performance, affects your mindset, your mood, your energy levels, and pretty much everything. So testosterone is really important. So how do you test whether you have optimal testosterone levels? Alright, so the first point is called potential testosterone test. So don't confuse this with the amount of testosterone in your body. That can only be found out with a blood test. And that depends on many factors such as your vitamin D levels, other hormones in your body, and your overall diet, how many healthy fats do you consume, your lifestyle, stress levels and all that. But this test is pretty useful because it helps to determine what is your potential to have testosterone in your body. Are you a kind of person that naturally has low testosterone or high testosterone? So this is a test which involves your right hand. All you do is check the length of your index finger and your ring finger. So what you need to do is find the ratio of the length of your index finger to that of your ring finger. And naturally guys have longer ring fingers because they have more testosterone, whereas women have more of the same length. And this is a good test. The value should be somewhere around 0.947, which is the average for men, and any value lower than that means that you have good testosterone. For me, my potential testosterone was 0.9, just for reference. Alright, so the second factor is type of muscle fiber in our body. We all have three different types of muscle fibers in our body, that is type 1, type 2A and type 2B. Type 1 muscle fibers are slow twitch muscle fibers which are used for low intensity, low impact activities that can be sustained for a long duration of time. These include something like marathon running, alright, and type 2A muscle fibers. These are called fast twitch, oxidative muscle fibers. These are the activities that are a little bit higher in intensity than slow twitch muscle fibers, but they are still using oxygen as a source of energy. They are not maximum intensity. So this is mostly when you play some sort of sport. And type 2B, these are fast twitch, glycolytic muscle fibers. These are maximum intensity, full effort, high intensity activities. This includes sprinting or max effort deadlift, stuff like that. And why am I telling you all this? Is this really important? Yes, it is. I'll tell you why. Because depending on our genetics, all of us have the combination of these three muscle fibers. And the ratio of type 1, type 2A and type 2B, that depends from person to person. What I mean is, some people are more gifted when it comes to low intensity activities such as marathon running, and some people are more gifted when it comes to high intensity activities such as sprinting or deadlifting. And your genetics do play a role when it comes to the kind of sport you might excel in. And the third factor is body fat distribution. There's two types of body fat receptors, that is beta 2 fat receptors and alpha 2 fat receptors. Beta 2 fat receptors are the fat that's easy to burn off, and alpha 2, that's the stubborn body fat that just won't go away. We all know the struggle with that, right? And coming to body fat distribution, there's generally 4 types of body fat distributions. The first one is when people are really gifted and they have even body fat distribution throughout their body. In this case, fat is stored evenly throughout the body, and these are the lucky people. Come on, it doesn't throw off their proportions because the body fat is spread evenly. You lucky bastards. And the second case scenario is where you have a leaner lower body and store fat in the upper body. This, in my opinion, is the worst case possible because fat is stored around your vital organs, and also who wants that lollipop look with chicken legs? Doesn't look good, alright. And the third case scenario is having a leaner upper body with fat stored in the lower body. In this case again, there's not any vital organs around the fat in your lower body, so it's kind of better, and this is my case scenario. And the fourth case scenario is mixed body fat distribution. It's not necessarily even throughout the body, but it's there in few random places. It depends. And the fourth factor is bone structure. When it comes to some other point like body fat distribution, you can really fix that over time with proper dieting and nutrition. But when it comes to bone structure, that's something you're born with. There's no way you can change that. You cannot change the length of your limbs. You cannot make your shoulders wider or your hips narrower. That's a bone structure you're born with, right? And some people are really gifted when it comes to that. I'm not only talking about aesthetics, yes, that too matters, but I'm also talking about the performance part of it. Such as in some lifts, having specific bone structure, specific limb lengths, it really helps you out. Let me explain that.
Some individuals have liver or bone lengths and body proportions that give them greater leverage in lifting weights and a greater potential for increasing strength than other individuals. This can readily be seen in powerlifting. Favorable liver lengths and body proportions in the bench press are a thick chest and short arms, aka alligator arms, while favorable liver lengths and body proportions in the squat and deadlift are a short torso, wide hips and short legs. Long arms can also help with the deadlift.
Alright, the three factors you need to focus on when it comes to bone structure is, the first one is shoulder to waist ratio, which gives you that V taper, alright, and the second one is your height. People are of different heights. Some of them are 6'5", some of them are 5'5". At the end of the day, all that matters is how you feel about your height. Do you feel it's ideal for you? Do you feel confident that way? Usually the shorter people look more stocky and the taller people, they look more lanky, right? And yeah, you just need to be happy with your height. And the third point, this is really important in my opinion. This is probably the most important part of bone structure, and that is the thickness of your wrist and your ankles. If you have thick wrist and ankles, you have more capacity to put on muscle size as compared to someone that has thin wrist and ankles. That's pretty simple. I'll also talk about a formula that you can use to calculate your maximum potential to build muscle based on your wrist and ankle sizes.
Alright guys, this is the website I was talking about. You feed in some basic information about yourself and that gives you a good idea of what your potential is to build muscle. So let's go with it. My height in inches is 68.89, okay, and my wrist size is 7 inches. My ankle is 9.5, which I think is really gifted. My body fat percentage, let's put it about 13.7. I'm just approximating it, I haven't calculated that in a while. But yeah, here we go. This is what my genetics allows me to do. That's pretty cool, huh? I'll put a link in description. You can take a look at what your genetics allows you to build.
The fifth factor is muscle insertions. There are basically two types of muscle insertions. The first one is high insertion, which means you have long tendons and short muscles. We don't want that. That's not usually good. And the second one, this is low insertion, as in you have short tendons and longer muscles, which means you have more potential to get stronger, and it also gives you better leverage when you're lifting weights.
Alright, this whole concept of muscle insertions is hard to explain, so let me try and simplify it for you guys. I'll show you examples of different muscle groups and what I mean by long muscle belly and short muscle belly. So as you can see here, the guy on the left, he has complete round full biceps because his muscle belly is really long and he has short tendons, whereas the guy on the right, he has long tendons, which means his biceps look smaller, even though both of these guys are pretty much of the same size, believe it or not. Alright, now coming to chest muscle insertions, Arnold is a perfect example for somebody that has godlike chest genetics. It's so even, so complete and round and so well developed, right? Compared to somebody like Terry Crews or this guy, wherein they have that gap in the middle of their chest in the sternal area. Even though they do have well developed muscle in the chest area, this is how their chest insertions are. It does not look that good when compared to somebody like this. And coming to the calf muscles, the guy on the left and the guy on the right, both of them have pretty much the same body fat percentage and the same muscular development, but their calf looks completely different, and that's purely because of muscle insertion genetics. And now talking about everybody's favorite muscle group, your abs, right? Your abs can look distorted, uneven and asymmetrical like this, or if you have good muscle insertion genetics, it can even look like this. Drastically different looks, all because of your genetics.
The sixth factor is your fat-free mass index, or FFMI, which is simply the ratio of your lean body mass in kg divided by the square of your height in meters.
Basically, FFMI shows the sheer amount of muscle mass you could possibly put onto your frame, and obviously this improves as you train and build more muscle over time. Alright, I calculated my fat-free mass index using this website, link in description, and the average value for most men is 19, and any value above 25 means you're either on steroids or you have insanely good genetics. I fed in some basic information and my value came out to be 21.8, which is well above average, and I'm happy with it. And yeah, give it a shot.
And the seventh and final point is metabolism. And here there are 4 types of main archetypes, wherein the first one, I talked about this in the last video if you remember, is mesomorphs. These are the guys that are really gifted. It's easy for them to build muscle and easier for them to lose fat. So yeah, these are generally more gifted. And the second type is endomorphs, which is a person who can put on body mass easily, who can build muscle, but they find it difficult to lose fat. And the third one is ectomorphs. These are skinny ones who really struggle to put on muscle, but also they are not fat. They don't put on fat easily. And the fourth one, it's a combination of 2 or 3 of these. It's mixed. So those are the 7 factors that really affect your genetics. And before I end this video, I'd like to say something important. It does not matter if you have good genetics or bad genetics. All that matters is that you give it your 100%. You're trying to be the best version of yourself every single day. That's all that matters. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to Vitruvian Physique, who is one of my favorite fitness YouTubers. And what points I talked about in today's video, I took a lot of them from his video series. It's basically like a 4-part series, and each part is half an hour long. That's super long. So I really found his videos very helpful, and I tried to make them shorter, condense his points into one video, and also take in some of the additional points that I got through my research and experience and present it to you guys. I know this might be way too lengthy for some of you guys, and it might even be boring, but it's pure knowledge. It's not entertainment in this particular video, and it's just for the guys who love science. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up. And I'm not even going to ask you to share this video to anybody because it's probably going to be boring to most people. But if you really have the ambition to learn more and improve your knowledge base, then this video was for you. And maybe I'll make this kind of video in the future, but probably not in the near future. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, and until next time, take care, stay hungry.